Hello, thank you for joining me and welcome back to the channel. I've got some news for you. Yesterday I told you there was nothing to report. Today there is something to report. You may remember a couple of days ago I had the wonderful Clive de Carle on the show talking about his supplements and how they might assist you with well-being and health and things like that. And of course the link to his shop is in the description. And I mentioned at the end of that there's a chance that you could come along and see Clive and myself and Sandu Adams as well, talking about various things. It's things that might interest the type of people who watch this channel. And, well, I've got some news. I have got some news. Unfortunately, the event has been cancelled. You probably gathered that from the thumbnail, no doubt. So this was an event that was going on at the town hall in Glastonbury. Now, a number of you may have thought that Glastonbury, Glastonbury, that's a progressive sort of place, isn't it? That's a place of open-minded. You go there and you can buy your crystals, you can find out about witchcraft, good witches, bad witches, you can go and visit the abbey, the grounds there. You can go and explore all sorts of things at Glastonbury. It's a very open-minded place, apparently. They have all sorts of interesting things. But not if you want to see the very evil Richard Vobes, the very nasty Clive de Carle, or the sinister Sandu Adams, because we're not welcome, apparently. Odd, really, because we were only there the other week talking about farming and the farming crisis. Well, I say we, I was there with Mark Byford and John Cook from Dora's Dairy, and Mark Byford, the bowler hat farmer, talking about fork the system. And Mark was explaining about his tour around the country, trying to talk to farmers and trying to persuade people to avoid the supermarkets with their nutrient-free and vitamin-deficient food and buy more locally from the farm gate, possibly talking to farmers and trying to get the farmers to understand the relevance of their local customers. And I think that was a very laudable thing. We used to do that until high industrialization came along and people with big fat profits wanted to take all away from the farmers. And we were there, not at the town hall, at a much more open-minded place, the Avalon Rooms. They enjoyed what we did. Now, in the past, Sandu Adams and Clive de Carle and myself have spoken in Glastonbury at the Avalon Rooms, and there was no problem. People came along. In fact, we had such a sellout there that we thought we needed a bigger venue. And we thought the town hall would be great because the town hall hosts the Glastonbury Symposium, which a couple of years ago, it was my pleasure to speak at. And we had a lovely time. And there we had all sorts of speakers talking about all sorts of strange and unusual things. But for some reason, now the management have decided, we've got to be very careful. And I don't know why that is. I mean, we've seen it all the time, haven't we? People like Katie Hopkins has been cancelled from various places, and of course, Andrew Bridgen has had the same happen to them, and many people who are trying to share information, I suppose, or just be in a venue where other people, fans, if you like, want to come along and meet them and shake hands and maybe put points to them or questions and maybe ask them awkward questions. I don't know. And it's important that we have a free society, isn't it? It's important that even that some people may disagree with things, that we have that society which enables us to share opinions and ideas. Even if those ideas are abhorrent to others, it's a good idea that we are able to thrash them out. After all, if you didn't thrash out ideas that were abhorrent to you, you wouldn't necessarily know that those ideas existed. They'd go underground. Better to have them all out in public so that people can say, excuse me, I'm not sure I agree with you, or I do agree with you, and actually I would like to add this to the mix. I think it's very important to have open debate. Not nasty, not aggressive, not angry, not violence, of course. Nobody that I know in the, it's a weird term, the truth freedom movement, whatever you want to call it, this space that you find yourselves in where people are trying to just share information. But nobody I know really wants any violence. Nobody I know wants angry people. They want to share things. They're, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's very open-minded and they'll listen. They may not agree 100%, and that doesn't matter. We tolerate those people who disagree with us or want to put a counterpoint. Of course you do. That's life. You tolerate it, you listen to them, and actually sometimes, you know, somebody will have an argument against what I say. I'll listen to them and think, actually, do you know what? Some of what you say makes perfect sense. I'm not against that. I think that's perfectly healthy. Good, healthy debate is what we need. And when you shut people down and you stop people from talking, well, you become gatekeepers, don't you? You become an authority suddenly. You have the ability to stop people from talking, from sharing ideas, because you disagree with them. And I suppose, I mean, any venue, of course, has the right to not take a booking. And of course, I'm not saying that they ought to take the booking. I think it's frankly strange they wouldn't want to take the booking, especially in a place like Glastonbury, but it's no real skin off my nose. We don't make any money out of all of these things. I mean, we barely cover the costs of our petrol to get there, or diesel, or whatever, and then if you've got to stay overnight, well, it's all gone. We do it not for those sort of reasons, not to get rich quick. I can tell you there are many, many other ways of getting rich quick that one could do. This is about sharing knowledge. It's about talking to people, inspiring people, to raising their vibrations, to keeping them upbeat, to tell them what might be coming down the stream or downriver to them and being prepared for it, not indoctrinating people in any other way, not like the mainstream media do, not like the government do. But of course, I dare say that people like Glastonbury, the management there, you know, they're probably very decent people, and they've been lent on, I imagine, lent on by other organisations that hate people like me from having an opinion. And I think where this becomes a disservice, not to me, as I say, I'm not really worried, but it's a disservice to the people, say, of Glastonbury, or the people who are coming, that anybody would say, do you know, we know better than you. We know what you should be listening to and what you can listen to and what you can't cope with. That is just like any kind of censorship, isn't it? Saying, well, I think you shouldn't hear this. Now, it's different if you're censoring children, let's say, from, I don't know, nasty abuse, terrible words, indoctrinating them, or any sort of, you know, grim stuff. Of course, because children are young and they haven't yet formulated their minds properly. But once you're over 18, who's to say what you can and can't hear? And as I say, the management team may well be lent on. They're probably decent people, but this is the decision. So if you were thinking of coming on the 2nd of May, I think it was, to the Glastonbury Town Hall to see Sandy and Clive and myself, quite why you'd want to see me, but if you did, it's over. It's cancelled. They don't want it. And I'm sorry to have to report that. We see these gatekeepers. We see these people censoring things, and they think they're doing it for the right reasons. And in their minds, I suppose they are. But it's always good, I believe, to see both sides of the coin rather than just one. And that's mostly all people like myself and others are doing, is offering a different view. You see, I take the view that you, the viewer, can make up your own mind. You don't have to believe a word I say. And many people don't. Many people are making videos, taking me down and ripping me to shreds. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. They have the right to do that. If they disagree, then that's fine. I have no problem. Obviously, you don't want people being nasty and spiteful. That's a different thing. That's to do with morals, and people have got to live with themselves if they do that. But there's no reason that anybody need to believe anything I say or take on board. The viewer, in this day and age where you have mainstream media that is very biased, and you have a whole host of all sorts of different things out there on social media, the viewer has got to beware, has got to take things on board and think, is it true? Is there a modicum of truth? Has he got this right? Maybe some of it's right. Maybe, all I aim to do is to elicit thought, to help people perhaps look at something in a different way. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean I'm right. I'm not saying I am. And a lot of people disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. But there's no need to be rude, and you don't have to be disagreeable. So censorship, in my mind, is a bad thing. And we've seen the online safety bill. And already, have we not seen BitChute suddenly go, oh, golly, we can no longer offer the UK, or the landmass, the people on the landmass we call Britain, because UK is just a corporation, of course. We can't offer them to view our videos, unless, of course, people use a VPN, which would be probably the best idea. After all, a lot of these IPs are collecting all our data, spying on us, knowing what every website we go to, everything about us. This is where the digital world is going, and it would be nice to see an end to it. So personally, I'm not bothered by the cancellation. I just think it's a shame that people are still taking that old-fashioned way of doing things, that non-progressive way of shutting people down, closing them off, silencing them as best they can. I can't see any advantage in that, because ultimately people will go underground and they'll find the information they want. And those that have been shutting the door on them will be the ones who will come out in the worst light. Thank you so much for watching.